Does the defense have a witness in this matter?
Yes.
Please call your witness. Is Pat Drew in the courtroom? Please come forward. Please raise your right hand. Ms. Drew, do you solemnly swear the testimony about the given in this matter of Tony Clark versus McDonald's Corporation heard on the 11th day of December in the year 2011 is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please take a seat. Please try to keep your voice up. Direct examination.
May it please the court. Please state your full name for the court.
Pat Drew.
What position do you hold at McDonald's?
I am the manager.
Do you remember the date of August 16th, 2010?
Yes, I do.
Do you recall that a customer named Tony Clark came in for breakfast that morning?
Yes, I do.
What did the plaintiff order for breakfast that morning?
Hash browns, egg McMuffin, and a hot chocolate.
Can you tell the court how McDonald's serves all its breakfast?
We serve our breakfasts hot and fresh.
Why do you serve your breakfast that way?
In my managerial experience, I know my customers like it that way.
Does that also include the beverages such as tea, coffee, and hot chocolate?
Yes, it does.
Why do you serve your breakfast beverages that way?
We do because our customers like it that way.
Were you present at the restaurant at the time that the plaintiff was served their breakfast?
Yes, I was.
Did you see what happened as the plaintiff ate that breakfast?
No, but there were other witnesses present who told me what happened.
What did these witnesses tell you?
I was told that Tony Clark gulped down that hot chocolate. Clark didn't even take time to blow on it first.
Pat, is there any other reason why McDonald's serves its morning beverages as hot as you do?
Yes, because it is August and the air conditioning is on all day.
Why do you serve tea, coffee, and hot chocolate in styrofoam cups?
We serve it that way because it keeps the heat inside so our customers can enjoy the rest of the meal before drinking the hot beverage.
Are you aware that the plaintiff is asking this court to award $8,345 in medical bills and $50,000 in punitive damages?
Yes, I am.
Do you have anything you want to say to this court about that?
I believe that we do not owe any damages to Tony Clark.
Pat, is there anything else that you want this court to know?
Yes.
What else do you want to say to this court?
We believe that Tony Clark is responsible for his own injuries.
I have no further questions of this witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination of Pat Drew, manager at McDonald's.
May I inquire, Your Honor?
You may inquire.
Can we agree that Tony Clark burned his tongue, lips, and throat on August 16th, 2010?
Yes.
He ordered a hot chocolate, hash browns, and an egg McMuffin, correct?
Correct.
And it was the hot chocolate that caused the burns to his lips, tongue, and throat, right?
Yes.
You are the manager of McDonald's, correct?
Correct.
So is it fair to say that you are responsible for the safety of your customers?
It isn't fair to say. I believe that Tony Clark was responsible for his own injuries.
Is it your servers that are responsible for the customer safety?
No. Yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the answer.
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
Did the server warn Tony Clark about how hot that hot chocolate was?
No.
Did you warn Tony Clark about how hot that hot chocolate was?
No.
To your knowledge, did anybody employed by you warn Tony Clark about how hot that hot chocolate was?
No.
Did you have the air conditioning running in the restaurant that morning?
Yes.
So you made the hot chocolate even hotter because you believed the air conditioning would cool it off.
Yes.
So the added heat that you put on your beverage inflicted the wound on Tony. inflicted Tony Clark's wound.
Yes.
You served the hot chocolate in a white styrofoam cup, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
You knew that the styrofoam cup would keep the hot chocolate hot.
Yes.
Your server also knew that the styrofoam cup would keep that hot chocolate hot, isn't that true?
Yes.
And you still chose not to warn Tony Clark about how hot that beverage was.
If he knew that the styrofoam cup would keep it warm, then he shouldn't have taken a gulp.
And your employee, the person that served Tony Clark that hot beverage, also chose not to warn Tony Clark either.
Yes.
I have no further questions of this witness, Your Honor.
Is there a redirect of this witness? You want to ask any additional questions of your witness? No redirect, you may stand down. Does either side have any other witnesses to call? Does the plaintiff rest this case? The plaintiff rests?
Yes.
Does the defense rest? Let's hear the closing argument by the defense. I have to let the people assembled realize that closing arguments are argument. They are not testimony sworn on the witness stand. The jury is to consider the closing argument but realize that it is not sworn testimony. The only testimony from the witness stand that you can use in this case is sworn from the witness stand itself. That the attorneys for closing have the opportunity to convince you that what you heard from the witness stand should be interpreted in terms of what they want you to do.
May it please the court. Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have proved today in court that McDonald's restaurant was not negligent in any way that morning. The plaintiff was served the exact breakfast that he ordered. It was served hot, just as our customers prefer it to be. Your Honor, McDonald's did not breach their duty to care for the plaintiff. We have shown in court today that the injuries that the plaintiff received were caused by his own actions. You heard him admit that he gulped that beverage. We never heard him testify that he sipped that beverage first to see exactly how hot it was. There was no evidence presented today that he blew on that hot chocolate first in order to cool it down before he gulped it. Your Honor, a beverage so hot that it could cause burns to his tongues, lips, and throat surely would have steam rising from that cup before he gulped down that hot chocolate. Your Honor, I asked you, isn't it just plain common sense to look at a beverage, check for steam, blow on it, and sip it first before grabbing it and gulping it down? Your Honor, if the plaintiff wins this case, will McDonald's have to warn all customers about how cold the sodas will be, or warn each and every customer that gulping Slurpees can result in brain freeze or chest freeze? McDonald's has already taken the lead in the fast food industry by informing customers about the amount of calories in all of their foods. This is done to help customers maintain a healthier diet. Will McDonald's also now be responsible for how quickly a customer chooses to drink a beverage, or for the lack of common sense each customer has? Your Honor, it is our position that Tony Clark assumed a grave risk of injury by what he did and by what he failed to do that morning. We as defense believe that the plaintiff caused his own injuries at McDonald's that morning. We ask that the plaintiff request for the compensatory and punitive damages be denied by this court. Thank you, Your Honor.
Because the plaintiff brought this case to court, the plaintiff gets the last word. Closing argument by the plaintiff.
Your Honor and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the plaintiff has proven its case against McDonald's Restaurant Corporation today in court. McDonald's had a duty to care for all its customers that were served breakfast that morning. We showed that McDonald's failed to protect Tony Clark. The failure to alert or warn Tony Clark about how terribly hot their hot chocolate was led to the direct injuries that Tony Clark suffered that morning. They also failed to post any signs warning any of the customers about the dangerously hot beverage they planned to serve. You heard the manager admit that they served the hot chocolate in styrofoam cups. Your Honor, this decision of theirs caused that hot chocolate to stay hot for a longer time. They also had the air conditioning running, and that should have caused the hot chocolate to cool down more quickly. The fact that it did not cool down is proof of how dangerously hot the hot chocolate was when it was served to Tony Clark. I ask you, Your Honor, is this the standard of care that McDonald's should be providing for its customers? Your Honor, Tony Clark waited until his entire breakfast was finished before drinking that hot chocolate. Surely in 10 or so minutes it took him to eat the Egg McMuffin and hash browns, that hot chocolate should have had plenty of time to cool down. The testimony today showed that it still was so hot that it burned the tongue and seared the throat of Tony Clark. You heard Tony Clark tell this court about the pain and suffering he endured, and of the staying in the burn unit of the local hospital. Your Honor, it is the negligence of McDonald's that is the cause of all the injuries sustained by Tony Clark on that terrible morning. We ask this court for $8,345 to pay for the medical bills and $50,000 in punitive damages to punish and send a clear message to McDonald's that this kind of negligent action on their part is never to be repeated. Tony Clark should be the last customer burned at McDonald's. Thank you, Your Honor.
It should be mentioned that this particular McDonald's is not the local McDonald's that resides in Fremont, but it is a McDonald's in the state of California. Now, that concludes the testimony of the trial. That includes the opening statements, the directs, the crosses, and closings. It's now the job of the jury. I have proposed a jury ballot for you, and the jury ballot says this, and I'll be asking you to adjourn to the private room to discuss this case in a moment. Case Tony Clark, Plaintiff versus McDonald's Corporation Defendant. Possible verdicts. After hearing all the evidence in this case, we the jury find that, and there's 4 possible verdicts. 1, the plaintiff, Tony Clark, has proven its case, and we award Tony Clark $8,345 in compensatory damages and $50,000 in punitive damages due to the negligence of McDonald's Corporation. That's one possible verdict. 2, we find that the defendant, McDonald's Corporation, has proven its case, that it was not negligent. We therefore award no compensatory damage or punitive damages to Tony Clark, the plaintiff. 3rd possible verdict. We, the jury, find that the plaintiff was partly responsible for causing his own injuries, but is still entitled to some damages. We therefore award a certain percentage of the $8,345 to Tony Clark. We also award a certain percentage of the $50,000 in punitive damages to Tony Clark. If you elect for jury verdict number 3, you have to decide among yourselves what percentage Tony Clark should receive, if any. Last possible verdict, we the jury award Tony Clark a certain percentage of the $8,345 for compensatory damages, but do not feel that we need or should award any punitive damages to Tony Clark. Those are the 4 possible verdicts. Does the jury understand? Okay, how many people are going to be hearing the case of the jury? All of you?
7.
7? Are you, sir, are you going to be hearing the case? Or do you?
Should I?
No.
Well, you heard the entire case.
I did.
And the young lady at the end did not hear the entire case. So you have the right to talk about it, but I think the vote has to be among all of you. Okay? So this ballot is to be handed out by a jury foreperson. You can make your own individual choice. I have pencils for you without talking to each other first. And then you need to compare the papers and see if you can reach a total of 6 votes. You have to have at least 75% of a jury make a decision. If we have 7 jurors, that would be 6 of you would have to agree. Yes?
So after we've marked our ballots at the beginning and then discuss it, we can switch it afterwards?
Yes, you have the right to change your mind. You have the right to alter your opinions. But in order to have a verdict, 6 of the 7 of you must agree to one of these 4 verdicts. Is there anyone who would like to volunteer on the jury to be the jury foreperson? Their only job is to hand out the ballots and look at and tabulate what you have and see if you have 6 votes. If you don't have 6 votes for one particular verdict, you need to lead a discussion with people and see if you can reach a verdict in this case. Would someone be willing to do that? Here you go. Here are the documents. Here are the pencils. Good luck. We'll wait for you to return.